Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Sweet Spot. This is your host, Ryan Embree. We are here in Miami, Florida, South Florida, and introducing a brand new podcast series. We're so excited. This is TMG's Hospitality Campus Crawl, and we are here at our first stop at FIU's Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. And with me today, I have Dr. Michael Cheng, Dean of the school. Thank you, Dr. Cheng, for being with me.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we're very excited to be on here. This is an intro into a brand new series, a summer series that hopefully we are going to be touring all around the state of Florida, the great state of Florida, where tourism, as we know, is very, very important to our economy. And what you and your team are doing over here, Dr. Cheng, is very important because you're creating the next generation of hospitality workers and students out there. So, but before we get into that, this is your first time on the Sweet Spot, so welcome. Could you share a little bit about? We're going to be talking a lot about hospitality journeys in this, and the paths that are provided for hospitality students right now. But share a little bit about your story, your journey in hospitality, and what led you to FIU's Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism.
Sure. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
So the truth is, how I got here is spring break, like literally. My wife and I came down for spring break one year. Same year that we ended up moving down here, which was 2014, and we go, man, this is March and the weather's beautiful. We should like relocate. We were living in the Midwest at that time. So we were living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and had been in the Midwest for like 23 years.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while. But coming down here, the weather was very nice. But really, I'm an international student. I was born and raised in Malaysia, and came here to the U.S. to study and enroll at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And my first major was not hospitality. It was MIS. And I quickly realized that I'm more of a people person and less of a computer desk person. So I changed major, followed a bunch of friends who say, hey, let's try business. So I did business for another semester, didn't like it because I couldn't find a direction. And then my supervisor at that point, because I was working in the residence hall food service, said, you should look into hospitality. I think I might be good at it. So I said, what is hospitality?
Right.
And went over and met the professor and goes, well, there's restaurants, there's hotels, there's events you can work in. Food service, anything you want. What you're doing right now is hospitality. So I said, okay. I tried it. I loved it. And I think I found my niche. So finished my bachelor's, and she asked me to stick around for my master's. So I did, became a graduate assistant. And then I started working in the industry for 3 years as a food service manager. I really discovered, man, everything is true. This is an industry that you get to eat for free. Right? Yeah. Never have to pay for lunch. Which
not
is
too
very
bad.
Nice. And at that point, then I kind of got a little bored with what I was doing. So started looking around and found that a community college, a metropolitan community college in Omaha, Nebraska, had a position. And they were looking for somebody to come in and basically run the kitchens. So I applied for that job, and that was my first foray into higher education. I didn't start teaching right away because that was not the plan. The plan was to, do what I love, which is hospitality. But there was one semester, like maybe 2 years in, and they were short, or one of the faculty members couldn't teach a class. So they were looking for somebody last minute.
Sure.
So they asked me if I'd be willing to teach an introduction to culinary arts class. I'm like, sure. How hard can it be? Right? And there was only 9 students in it anyway. It's a small class. They couldn't cancel it because it was too late. And they say, we'll guide you. Here's the syllabus. Here's the content week by week. And before you teach the class, I go through it with you. This is the faculty talking to me. And then we'll prep you for the class of that week. I said, well, great. So you know what I did? The first week of class, I forgot I had class. I was late to my own first class. And I got there like 30 minutes later, and they go, where were you? I'm like, I'm sorry. Brand new instructor.
Yeah.
All 9 stayed with me and finished with me. So I was thankful for that one. It was during the time to a Metro Community College that the faculty say, you should go to this conference and see what they are about. And it's called the Research Chefs Association Conference. So I went and I found out there's a very nice intersection between culinary arts and food science, and they call it culinology. I came back, was all excited about it. And then the guys who ran the RCA, the Research Chefs Association, said, we're looking for a school to develop this brand new discipline. Can you help us? I'm like, sure, we have culinary arts. It's a culinary program. and my alma mater has food science. I was like, we could combine the two. So I created a curriculum for culinology. That was back in 2000. Today, it's in use in over 12 different schools internationally. But what really got me the opportunity to move on in my career was because I created the curriculum, and my next employer, which is Southwest Minnesota State University, they were looking for somebody to launch a culinology program. So they reached out, asked me if I was interested. Of course, I said yes. Here's an opportunity to actually implement a curriculum that you develop in action. So I said yes, took the job. And the president there also said, well, you have a hospitality background, so why don't you do both, culinology and hospitality? And I, of course, foolishly said yes. So there I was running a program, creating from scratch 2 different programs. And because of that opportunity, I was able to get tenure at Southwest Minnesota State University and became the full professor there. And then I was serious about the whole spring break thing. My wife and I came and we said, this is gorgeous weather, we should look around here. That same year, I was at a conference for hospitality educators. And I overheard this group of guys talking about food science. And that got my attention. So I stuck my head into the conversation, asked them why were they talking about food science. And they go, well, we're the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at Florida International University. And so where's that? So in Miami. So my eyes lit up. So suddenly Miami comes up again in the same year, literally within a couple of months. And this was the conference. So then I applied for the job, came down here, and literally 3 years later, I was asked to become the interim dean. And then that was at the end of 2017. So I've been in the dean's role since, I guess, end of 2017, almost 7 years now.
Well, your story, it's an incredible journey, but it's common in that a lot of the hospitality leaders I talk to on this podcast, they just kind of happen to fall into the industry.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I think that's why this series and this school is so important, because we want to change the narrative to say that I want to get into hospitality. There's a career for me here. And we stop students from falling into an industry and finding that industry and saying, this is where I want to start my career. Now, I don't know if I've had anyone that's fallen into 2 separate careers, but hospitality and teaching. But again,
the teaching thing wasn't intentional. It just happened by luck.
Yeah.
And then you find that you have a knack for it and you love it. And I guess what I really like about teaching is I get to see a person develop, a young adult able to gain new skills and develop, see them mature. And then after that, they remember you. It's so rewarding.
Yeah, no, I bet. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I had the opportunity to get a tour of this incredible campus, the award-winning curriculum that you're putting, the experiences, share a little bit about the history of this school, which is it's a lot older than I originally thought when I heard, and what kind of makes it unique from other hospitality programs.
Sure. So FIU is, I guess, relatively young in terms of large institutions. We're the 5th largest university in the country. We opened in 1972, so we're 52 years old today. And the hospitality school opened at the same time FIU opened. So we were one of the 5 original academic units that opened in the state of Florida, in Miami, actually.
Wow.
Back in 1972. So, and we were awarded a School of Distinction in 1978, and today we're the 2nd largest hospitality school in the whole country. We graduate anywhere between 700 to 800 students a year. We also graduate the most diverse graduates in the whole country because of population here in South Miami and South Florida. But also we graduate the most Blacks and Hispanic students with a degree in hospitality management than anybody else. So we're really proud of our diversity. And located in Miami, we're very fortunate to have a very strong tourism industry down here.
Sure.
But I think more importantly is that FIU and the Chaplin School were the hosts of the only South Beach Wine and Food Festival in the whole country, actually in the whole world. Probably the most successful one, which to date in its 23-year history has generated over $40 million in proceeds and scholarships for our students. So it's been very successful, has certainly made a huge difference in the experience that our students get here while they're at the Chaplin School. Because of that, too, we're able to recruit talented faculty to come here to Miami as well. On top of that, because of a location and our connection with the South Beach Wine Food Festival, which coincidentally actually started here on campus. Our wine faculty, where we are recording this podcast right now, created the original South Beach Wine Food Festival. It was called the Florida Extravaganza, and we did it for one day wine and food pairing here on campus. And then from there on, it just grew. Today, it attracts 65,000 guests over a
Wow.
4-day period. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is the academic programming here also mirrors the landscape here in South Florida. So we have the only Bachelor of Arts in Global Sustainable Tourism. We're the only ones in the hospitality school that offers an undergraduate degree in that. Prepare students for a variety of different careers with sustainability as officers and sometimes even directors. But we also offer a master's track in cruise lines operations management, the only one in the whole country as well. And then very unique to us because of the South Beach Wine Food Festival, we have a mega event management track within a master's program. And I'm very proud of the fact that we award so much scholarship to our students every year. Literally, on average, over $1 million is awarded to a Chaplin School student just from the school itself every year.
That's fantastic, and I'm sure that money is creating opportunities for students and sending them down the path of a hospitality career and giving them even a shot at that. So, very cool to see and innovative to hear that you have a global sustainable tourism degree. Something that we talk to hospitality leaders all about. We're talking about how corporations, businesses in the future, they might not be looking at maybe monetary budgets. They could be looking at green budgets and sustainability budgets. So you're setting your students up for kind of the future of hospitality there. And then that master's degree in cruise line operations, as you said, Miami, such a hub. Yeah, such a hub there. So talk about some of these partnership networks that you've been able to create over here. Obviously you have I saw some learning experiences with sponsorship from Bacardi. Why are these relationships so vital for your program's success? And how does this really kickstart students' careers in hospitality with these partnerships?
Sure. So we really believe in training our students and preparing them as best as we can for the real world, right? So as much as possible, we're always going to bring in guest lectures from industry, as well as we look for faculty members when we hire them to have prior industry experience.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that our students are getting information that's current and relevant. That's why we lean so much on our industry partners so they can bring in that reality into the classroom itself. We focus a lot on experience as well in terms of every single student who graduates from the Chaplin School need to complete a 300-hour management internship. It prepares them for the leadership position. But on top of that, they also have to have completed 800 hours of work experience prior to graduation. That means working in the hospitality industry full-time every summer from the first year to the year you graduate. So that's a lot of work experience when they bring in, when they graduate from the school here. On top of that, one of the things we are very proud of is our unique curriculum. I mentioned some of it earlier, but in about 5 years ago, we created a way to be able to get information into students' hands sooner, as fast as we can, that's relevant and current. Your typical curriculum change process takes about a year to go through the whole process at a university. And what we did was created a course that's called Programming on Demand. And then we offer 4 or 5 different sections of it each semester, and each one of those sections is a different content. So it's a one credit hour class. We'll take them on like behind the scenes tours in restaurants. We'll take them to leadership conferences, to the National Restaurant Show, take them on trips to distillery. So they're learning all the while from the real world. So we're proud of that one. On top of that too, we have a very robust study abroad program. I think the best time to gain experience is while you're a college student. So we have this thing that we've been doing for about 10 years now. It's called Hospitality at Sea. And every year during the summer, right at the end of the spring semester, between 60 to 80 students sign up for either a 3-credit class or 6-credit class and go on a 2-week journey, transatlantic ship, typically across the sea. And then they end up in Europe someplace, and then they hop around for a little bit. It's just a great experience. So we really are very proud of the fact that our students get that much variety and different experiences while they're here.
Well, listen, I was a hospitality student graduate as well, and I maybe people hearing this might think, well, they're going to school. Why do they need those work hours? Those work hours are setting students up for success, connections within our
Absolutely.
industry. How many times have you heard? A student say, "Hey, I'm working for this organization," and the next thing they know, when they graduate, they have a full-time job, or they
Yeah.
have a connection that sets them up for
Yeah.
for their career and journey. So those things were so vital in
Yeah.
my career, to even try out spaces. As you talked about, our hospitality is so vast, from cruise lines to
Mhm.
F&B, hotels, events, everything, right? So this gives you a little taste of everything,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
you can find really where your passion lies and your
Yeah.
niche lies. But at the end of the day, it's all of that foundation of people serving people and hospitality, which is why me and you probably
Yeah.
love the industry that we're in right now. So
And we see the same thing with our industry partners too. They really do want to give back.
Yeah.
Like for instance, we have the only Bacardi Center of Excellence in partnership with Bacardi North America, where they funded the creation of this. And the intention is to give back. Students get scholarships. We have an endowed professorship. We've been able to create this learning platform that's available to anybody across the whole world for free. And Bacardi wants to be able to improve the industry it's in.
sure, it's a win-win.
Mhm.
It's super smart moves. You mentioned the location. I want to talk about that a little bit more. Miami, right? I mean, I feel like if you were starting a hospitality school, and you could pick
There's
anywhere,
no place else.
right? Miami's probably pretty
Miami is
perfect.
it.
Um,
Absolutely.
Talk about that role when maybe prospective students are looking at hospitality schools, and you're able to say, hey, we are in Miami, we can offer you all of this. What role does that play?
I think where the school is located is a major factor in the students or the potential students' choice of where they want to go.
Sure.
For me, Miami is like the hub. Quite honestly, you got how many episodes of how many versions of Bad Boys shot
Right.
in Miami, right?
Yeah.
So they keep coming back for that one. But Miami is the gateway to the Americas. We've heard that. Not only that, though, 38% of our student population here at Chaplin School come from the Caribbean, South or Central America. We also see Miami continue to grow. It's grown from back in the 80s to today. It's quite different. But a lot of multinational global companies have moved into Miami. Citadel moved their headquarters here. The other one is SH Hotels, which owns the one hotel, and all a line of sustainable hotels.
Sure.
And then there's Highgate Hospitality, who probably manages, it's the country's second largest hotel management firm. They moved here as well. And then you notice too that the food scene here is incredible. 2 years ago, we got the Michelin stars coming in here. And now it's like everybody wants to open the famous restaurant here, and you got major food group opening a whole bunch of restaurants here. Same thing with Groot Hospitality. As I mentioned earlier, Miami is also the home of the South Beach Wine Food Festival.
Sure.
Nowhere else can you go for that kind of experience. We also host the FIFA World Cup, the F1, the Ultra Music Festival, and we're the cruise capital of the world. So I think where we're at in itself and the opportunities they provide to students who are interested in hospitality is incredible. It's so immense. You can find just about anything you want right here in Miami.
And that's the beauty of hospitality too, is we're all travelers, right?
Mhm.
And we're all diners. We're all people that like to go to events. So not only are you studying in a place that has all of these incredible places to eat and stay
Yeah.
and attend, you get to be a part of that and potentially give back to it.
Yeah.
And you give tons of opportunities for students to do that.
And there's no state taxes in Florida.
Yes,
which is a bonus.
That is very important as well.
I mentioned our gateway to the Americas. I mean, we have a global, major international airport that can get you any place you want in the whole world. On top of that too, the cultural diversity that we have here in South Florida, in Miami in particular, you're seeing so many residents of Miami who grew up in other countries. So it's just, and not only does it bring diversity into your lives, but also the talent that they bring along with it. So now you got a great business ecosystem, cultural diversity, a strong pool of talent, no state taxes, beautiful weather and beaches.
Yeah, there's no question to why it has such a rich history down here and how impactful it is. Let's talk about alumni. any school, this is alumni are important and have an impact. Discuss the significance of FIU alumni, and you have some initiatives that you do to get to foster these strong relationships with your alumni.
So FIU, the Chaplin School too, we are 52 years old today, and the university itself has over, I think, 325,000 alumni. The school itself, we have roughly 20,000 alumni who are worldwide. And as I look at where our alumni are today and where they came from, I can see trends. Back in the 70s and 80s, as we were new then, we got a lot of alumni who came from the East Coast, the Northeast Coast in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the 80s, we had a lot who came from Europe. And then Europe's education system developed, and now they offer a lot of competitive options there. So that the amount of students from Europe has kind of slowed down. And then we opened a campus in China in the 90s. And from that on, we got a lot of Asian international students coming there. But so you can see that our students do come from all across the world, and some have made major gifts. And when you ask them why they made major gifts towards the program, towards the school, it's because of the experience they had here. So one in particular, John McKibben, he graduated in 1975, and he put in a large amount of money to create the McKibben alumni experience. He wanted students today to have the same kind of experience that he had when he was a student here. And that's what we're very proud of, making sure that our students get individualized personal attention. And then also we have other alumni such as the host and I think he's also the founder for Beyond the Plate, Andrew Chaplin. So he got his start here as a student while he was volunteering at the South Beach Wine Food Festival, and
Wow.
he met Rachel Ray. And the reason why he met Rachel Ray is because he was wearing a T-shirt that said something like avocado, just one word, and it caught her attention. So that's how the connection began. And previously he was her chief of staff, and then he moved on, and now he's running this. He still runs her foundation, I believe, but he has his own podcast show now, which is very, very popular too. So about 5 years ago, we saw that as the alumni body continued to grow and there's more and more out there, that we needed to make sure that we continue to excite our current generation of students. So the best way to excite somebody who's younger is to bring somebody about the same age as them.
Yeah.
That's why we created what's called the Rising Star Awards. And that was intended to honor alumni who have quite a significant level of success in their careers and who are continuing to climb up the ladder, on the upwards trajectory. So it will help inspire those alumni as well as the current students, but also encourage them to keep striving for more.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We walked in and saw this just giant wall of all these faces and awards, and it's so cool to be able to kind of see those pathways and success stories, especially for a younger person to say, hey, listen, in 20, 30 years, if this could be you.
Yeah.
You could be on this wall, or you could be giving back to the university.
Yeah.
And those I think are the strongest testaments. Obviously we're going to talk about some of the awards that the curriculum has been given, but I think some of the strong testaments of alumni coming in and talking about their experience, giving back, shows that you're doing something right.
Yeah. The other unintended consequence of having the wall that you mentioned is it shows the current students the breadth of possibilities within the hospitality industry. So you're not just customer service. You could be in revenue management. You could be in catering. You could be in real estate development. So there's all kinds of options that are available in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all of those options, you provide a lot of unique learning experiences and programs. Some you've spoke to already, but talk to some of the resources offered to students here at the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism. Academic advisors, hospitality, venue tours, programming on demand. Speak a little bit more to that and how that integrates into learning here.
Well, I think one of the benefits that we have is we are on a campus that's just paradise. It's the Biscayne Bay campus. Literally,
you can see it.
We are on the water,
right? Yeah.
So
I know Google Maps the campus if you're listening to this and see how close we are.
It's incredible
to the water.
I mean, I've heard of students and visitors who say, "Yeah, I saw a manatee or I saw a dolphin." I'm like, "Where?" Just right off the water. Wow. Unfortunately, I don't get to see them because I'm in the office. I gotta work.
Gotcha.
But I think Biscayne Bay campus is paradise for sure. And the entire school hospitality is located here. So we're self-contained. We have our own advisors, recruiting, career services. And what that means is you don't have to wait. So you don't have to wait to talk to somebody at the central campus or at the main campus. You need advising. You just go downstairs and you find any given day there's at least 2 advisors out of 4 waiting for you. We also offer online services as well to help them. So if they cannot be here on campus. And then I think the other big benefit is the personalized attention. So, we have 1,200 students, second largest, but it's like every advisor knows every student. So anytime I'm looking for somebody, I say, hey, do we have somebody who meets this criteria for either a scholarship award or for volunteer opportunity? They say yes, then they give me a name. We reached out and they're all in. So that's really refreshing. And I also like that, we were able to basically provide everything they need in one location. But we also do a lot to bring them in too. So we do a lot of student engagement opportunities or activities, I guess, such as the Welcome Back Bash. We do a graduation celebration for them, a freshman painting ceremony if they're here. So then we make sure that our faculty and staff are introduced to them early on and create the relationship. The other thing that we do different too is we like our students and also maybe potential non-students yet to know who we are. So we have our advisors and career counselors teaching these freshman orientation classes as well as the career pathway classes. So they know, oh, here's hospitality. I didn't have to change major twice like I did to discover hospitality. I was in the class and I learned about it. So those are, what's great for our school here, what makes us different too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the bigger trends that we're noticing, and as we talk to hotel leaders specifically, is personalization and how that's becoming a more intricate part of hospitality and hoteliers' lives. But the same applies, I would imagine, to students and personalization and their journey, their academic journey here. So being able to provide resources, stories, pathways for them really helps them get their career started on the right foot. And certainly all the work that you've been doing has paid off. I mean, I want to make sure I get these stats right. Ranked in the world's top 1% by QS World University rankings, number 1 U.S. online hospitality program. As the dean, Dr. Cheng, what do these recognitions mean to you, and how do you use them to impact enrollment?
Well, I would say first, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
So there are only 2 rankings in the whole world for hospitality and tourism, and QS World University rankings one of them. When they first started looking at hospitality programs back in 2017, we were unranked. We didn't even make the cut. We're like not on the map kind of thing.
Yeah.
But since then, we've made a concerted effort, and we first showed up at number 50 in 2018, and then after that, we progressively climbed each year. And today we are number 31 in the whole world. But when you look among U.S. public universities, we're number 6. So it's back to like 2017. You're not even a known entity. Today in 2024, now you're number 6 in among U.S. public universities in the country. So that has really helped us with our recruitment, not just students, but also with faculty, like I mentioned earlier.
Sure.
They want to be with the best.
Yeah.
And on top of that too, our location in Miami, where all these major employers are, this will also help us with job placement.
Yeah.
So now you got employers coming to us, say, hey, we know you're a good school, you're ranked highly. We love to hire students. We're also very diverse, which is another positive that employers are looking for. So I mentioned recruiting for faculty. Also, when you're ranked consistently and employers do track it, they can tell that you are doing something right, which means you have systems in place for quality control. So they trust us in what we're doing. They continue to refer to other employers, and we just, at the end, it's great for the students. We know we're training the next generation of students. We know we need them to have information and knowledge that's current and relevant, but we also need to know that they're going to be grabbed by the employer the moment they graduate.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, they are representative of the university. So if you can have these pathways, and it's a win-win for everyone. I mean, these organizations and corporations are looking for top-ranked universities, and if you're right there, it's kind of that snowball effect that
Absolutely.
you talked about. So, and then one of the things that is so unique, we've mentioned it multiple times, but the South Beach Wine Food Festival, major national event, gives hands-on F&B experience to your students. I want you
Have you been?
to. I have not.
Oh
So
my
that
God,
this is.
you need to come,
I
right?
know. I want to, but and I want you to maybe put us in the morning of this incredible event, the start of it. Walk us through what
Yes.
experience is.
So, I mean, that's I can get really descriptive.
Right.
I do remember my first time going to the South Beach Wine Food Festival.
Yeah.
That was in 2015 when I first got here. I had never eaten so many burgers before in my life. So, I mean, that was a burger bash. And then it was not just the amount of food that you could try
Mhm.
for one ticket price. It's the amount of alcohol you could consume. So you got to be really careful.
Right.
And then you also have all these celebrities. So I remember the first time going, wait, there's Giada. She's like my favorite Food Network's chef, you know. Wait, there's Rachel Ray.
Yeah.
So there's Bobby Flay. I was like, oh my God, where am I? You know? So
It's a who's who.
exactly. So it really is the only event where our student volunteers, by the way, 1,500 of the student volunteers
Wow.
all come from FIU. Right? They can really get up close and personal with celebrity chefs. And I remember hearing a story from one of my faculty members who was working the night event. He goes, "Yeah, Chef Guy Fieri just came by, said hi to the students, took a bunch of selfies with them, and then on top of that, he was feeling generous and gave them money." I'm like, "What? Chef Fieri just paid our students, gave them a tip?" Like, yeah, I mean that's incredible, right?
Yeah.
But it's not all just Food Network chefs. We also have other celebrities who come to it because you're seeing so many more spirit brands that are celebrity backed. And so
Right.
Maluma launched his, I think it was tequila last year. And then I remember Walking Dead stars Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul launching their Dos Hombres.
Right.
And it was kind of funny. I was at the event and I don't watch Walking Dead. I heard about it, I don't watch it. So I had no idea who these two guys are. And they walked up to me and Aaron goes, "Hi, I'm Aaron." I was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Michael." I had zero idea. Afterwards, somebody say, "Hey, that's Walking Dead. You want to take a picture?" I'm like, "Oh."
You could just run into celebrities at this
Absolutely.
event.
Absolutely.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, like I said, I'd love to go, but for those that haven't, hearing a firsthand account, I think is important. But it just,
Well, let me add on too.
yeah, please.
So there's the nice consumer facing part, but there's also the behind the scenes. A major portion. This festival, there's an entire team of like 11 full-time staff that work on it year round. And we start recruiting for student volunteers in September. And we start getting them interviewed and placed in proper positions. And then they go through training. They go to an orientation. And then they are like on the week of the festival working. Like seriously,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great experience. They participate in anything from marketing to culinary prep to staffing to logistics. What else do they? Event preparation, and these are all leadership skills. So
Yeah.
they're getting hands-on experience. They're getting a scholarship on top of that, but they gain this incredible networking and leadership skills that is gonna make difference.
Well, it's a big part of, we went on a tour before doing this podcast, and you see signage for it all over. You see the history of the event, signatures, pictures everywhere. So it's clearly just a huge piece of the school and everything that you do. And as you mentioned, the numbers, it gives so much back to the students as well. So
Yeah.
it's a great cause for it. And speaking of that, let's talk about the available hospitality exclusive scholarships that you and your team do. Anything from that festival to donors. That's a big part of giving students an opportunity to get into hospitality in the first place that otherwise wouldn't.
Absolutely. So I myself am a product of a scholarship. If my graduate professor, actually my major professor when I was finishing my undergraduate, didn't offer me a graduate assistantship, I would not have completed a master's degree. And I'd be, probably working in the kitchen someplace.
Yeah, you're a
So
walking testament to it right
exactly.
there.
So I understand the value of a scholarship and what it does to a person's life. The festival raises every year between 1.5 to $2 million in scholarship proceeds back to the school. I make sure that the majority of it goes towards the students, right back to the students to help them, because we all know that scholarships can remove barriers to success. They don't have to don't have to worry about getting to the next shift. They don't have to worry about housing, food, because it just helps them, and you get more time to concentrate on your studies. When you do that, students really appreciate it, but they also then start to think further, to expand their mind. Like, if there's less to worry about and concentrate on my studies, maybe I should think about doing a master's, so to get into a 4+1 program, which then gives them another leg up in industry. So we offer a bunch of different scholarships that helps remove those barriers, like one that's called Last Mile Scholarship. Many times you come across students who go, oh, and I'm not registered for the last 3 credits because I got to work. So we say, we'll cover the cost of your 3 credits. Here's, if it's in-state $700, we'll cover the cost of it. And then we also have emergency funds. So very seldom do we get students who, if they're not in a real emergency, will come to us and go, I just can't make the rent this month. Is there any scholarship that I can apply for? And we're like, how much is it? If it's $1,500, here, we'll give you a scholarship, cover that right up. And it's because Selfish Mindful Festival made that possible for our students. It removes those incredible barriers.
Yeah, it's so incredible. And like you said, without those stresses, then you can focus on your education and could put you in a position for success is what we're trying to do. And how fitting is it in an industry where it's people serving people, hospitality, that we're able to do something like that and even just furthers our industry. So very, very cool to hear.
I would add to, when I was an undergraduate student, my major professor also told me I should go to conference. And they say, well, we're taking a van. You want to join us to the National Restaurant Show from Lincoln, Nebraska to Chicago, Illinois. It was a good 10-hour drive, I think. I'm like, sure, why not? And I found so much value in that. So I really encourage our students, if they get an opportunity to go to conference, they should do it, and we'll give them a scholarship to cover it. So they get this hands-on experience, they get to travel. Back in April, I took a group of students to Oaxaca, Mexico, where we learned all about agave and as well as Oaxacan food. It was just an incredible journey.
Yeah, it's so cool. Those experiences, they're all over our industry. And again, it's such a great industry. It's not like we're, that experience, I'm sure, with the students was something that they'll never forget, but it's also expanding and exposing them to, a path that they could potentially go down.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up here, Dr. Cheng, as Dean, what's your vision for FIU's Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism moving forward?
Well, I'm by nature a very competitive person. So,
okay, I think I know where this is going.
For that reason, I need my metrics, and as long as I know what I'm measuring myself against, then I know what goalposts or what levels I got to move. So my goal is always to be the best. I'm just competitive in nature. And 5 years ago, I set a vision that we were going to transform hospitality and tourism one learner at a time for a lifetime. Our intention was to make a difference in their lives, either through education, through scholarship, through opportunities, experience, whatever it is. And we've been very successful at that, and we will continue to do so as we prepare the next generation of students. With the pandemic, we've learned some habits have changed. So the new learned behaviors, new expectations, the whole concept of remote work and flexible time is very important to them now. So we have to make adjustments of what our vision is. And then on top of that, you have technology and AI driving the industry as well.
Sure.
So those are factors you have to consider. You have as well as economic pressures. So inflation is a big issue for a lot of business owners. So we're currently working with my executive advisory board, and we'll be having workshops with our faculty and staff to create what I call Vision 2030. We need to take all the learnings we have from the last 5 years, apply today's factors in it, and then figure out how can we continue to deliver the best experience for our students, for our faculty, for our staff, and provide knowledge that's current and that's relevant. And at the same time, provide it in ways that they wanted, whether they want it in online, they want it on demand, they want it in person, and then in what format, right? Whether it's fast, a lot in on demand, or is it a longer multi-week type of workshop?
Sure.
So those are the kind of things we have to figure out. But we're very excited for the workshop that's coming up in September with the faculty, staff, and as well as with my advisory board.
It's so fast changing too. The things that maybe would change over the course of 10 years in hospitality now are changing at a rapid pace. So you certainly have the foundation there, Dr. Cheng, with you and your school here and everything that you've put in place to adjust to those fast-moving needs for hospitality and the students that you're teaching and putting out there into our industry. So, as someone that speaks to hospitality hotel leaders, where we have this in, you know, what has really been a historic staffing shortage right now. To be able to talk to a leader that's educating the next generation of hospitality workers. Thank you for all the work you and your team are
It's my
doing.
pleasure.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up today? We covered it all.
Well, I think if you're considering hospitality, don't consider it, just do it. You know, you have to experience it. Like I had no idea what it was, changed my major, never looked back. I mean, it's just been a great ride. You know, it's a dynamic industry. It's very exciting. You get to travel, you get to see the world, and eat a whole bunch of different foods. And you know, you get to create lifelong friendships. You know, and really, hospitality at the end of the day is not a product, it's the experience, and how we create the experience matters, right? And the experience could be delivered through service, could be delivered through AI technology, whether it's just a simple, you know, good eye contact with a guest and nodding and smiling at them. Those are the kind of experiences that matter, and that's why we love, and I believe all of you love hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, amazing food and amazing places and experiences shouldn't be really a hard sell. So, thank you, Dr. Cheng, for hosting the Sweet Spot here at your beautiful Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism. We will continue to watch, hopefully continue to see you climb those rankings. But thank you for hosting us here, and thank you for joining the Sweet Spot.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.